Welcome to the Vault Studios NFL podcast, an Australian twist on all things NFL. The boys are cracking into a nice cold beer from Burnley Brewing. Let's join them.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the show. I'm your host, J.A., and I am joined by the great man himself, Richie Garraway. How are you, buddy?
I'm good, mate. How you doing today?
I'm pretty good. Pretty good. Can't complain. Nice hot weather down in Melbourne. The summer's starting to come. It's fantastic. My daughter turns 5 tomorrow, which is terrifying. She goes to school next year. I'm old. It's come quick. It's come quick at me, and I'm accepting it like a man. I'm just going to let myself go grey, get bitter and alone, and move on. That's my plan. You know.
No,
Really throw myself at work. You know, really become an old man. You know, like get after it a bit. No, I'm kidding. I'll throw myself in the NFL before I throw myself at work. Another wild week in the NFL. I don't know who's good. We were just talking before. I don't know who's good and who's bad. I think maybe they're all good. Maybe everyone. I'm going to choose to look at it as everyone's good in their own way, and just depends on the day.
That's one way to look at it. Or you can look at it, everybody's bad, and they sometimes play good.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens. Before we launch into it tonight, let's just go around the sponsors. It's starting to become a big list of sponsors, Rich. I think 3 or 4 years ago, no one wanted to borrow us. Now they love us. Or they love me. I think they love me. I think that's the difference.
Oh, is that what it is?
Maybe. I'm not sure. Let's start with Burnley Brewing, though. 648 Bridge Road, Richmond. Get in there for good beer, good food. Said they're one of our show sponsors and beer sponsor. I'm going to pick up some beer this week, Richie, so I've got to get some for you as well. Do a drop-off. Also, our friends at Dark Horse Electric. If you need electrical work done in Melbourne or Victoria, really, Dylan goes everywhere. Shoot him a message. Follow him on all social medias. Look after him. He's an absolute legend. ussportsgear.com.au. You want some football equipment for playing or some replica helmets, college helmets, stuff like that. Get in there. Have a look at the website. It's great. Best prices in Australia. And for last, but certainly not least, JD's Breaks Down Under. J and D's Breaks Down Unders, I should say, not JD's. And they've put up this beautiful helmet for our Patreon, which should be drawn in 2 days. So you've got 2 days to sign up. It's $10 a month. Marshall Faulk, St. Louis Rams, classic-looking helmet. Absolutely awesome with the Super Bowl, the Hall of Fame inscription. Don't know who Marshall Faulk is? Look up Greatest Show on Turf. Watch a little YouTube video on them and enjoy it, because that was basically looks what every NFL offense looks like now is what they looked like in 2001, and it was pretty special back then. So get stuck into them. But Richie, I think that's it. Let's just get straight into this show. Let's get straight. Let's 45 minutes tonight. Let's do it. Streamline.
Ooh, rapid fire. Well, we'll start with the upset of the week. The LA Chargers go down to the Denver Broncos 28-13. Jay, what the hell's happened to our Chargers, man?
Well, we're going to talk what's happened to them soon. But in terms of this game, it's just like the Denver Broncos, they just have moments where they look like a completely different team. Like Teddy Bridgewater even got hurt in this game, came out of the game for a quarter or so, came back in and threw a couple of touchdowns. And he ran in a touchdown, ran in a terrible angles and tackles on one of the touchdown runs. But like we've said all year with the Chargers, their problem, if they don't fire on offense, they are terrible on defense. And one thing we know about the Broncos are they can play defense. Patrick Surtain is gone completely under the radar as a defensive rookie. He's been absolutely outstanding for them. Javonte Williams, the running back? He's been spectacular, along with Melvin Gordon. Melvin Gordon's actually been very good as well. They're a very good 1-2 punch.
Well, Williams has really taken a while to get going. It's only been in the last handful of weeks that he started to kick along. Other than that, there were weeks where he was getting only like 5 touches. Yeah,
and they're using both really well now. The offensive line's got a bit healthier. I'm not sure. Like, do I think the Broncos? I think, when I looked at the games, and normally what you like is you put an upset because the team that won probably isn't very good. And I think it was like when the Broncos beat the Cowboys a couple of weeks ago. They got an early lead, got a pick 6, and then they were able to just coast home and play their style. The Chargers offense were really struggling, but they were also having to pass the ball a lot. They couldn't do their running plays and make defenses guess what they were doing. So it was a pure passing attack, and the pass rush was there from the Broncos. They have a good pass rush at times. In the games they win, their pass rush is good. When they lose, they're not. And they were there today. And Herbert was completely under pressure the whole game and couldn't make some throws. Now, he did make a couple of good throws, but, too many guys go missing on that offense. Mike Williams goes weeks without doing anything. He went the whole game last week and then scored a 40-yard touchdown to win, basically seal the game or win the game. But until then, he hadn't been spotted. So it's sporadic guys like that kill you on offense. Who's the tight end? Justin Cook. Is it Justin Cook?
It's Cook. It's a Cook, yeah.
Yeah, he's the same. He was pretty much garbage today until he got a Hail Mary touchdown late in the game. Like, these guys go missing. Keenan Allen's really the only consistent one. Eckler at times when they can keep that in the game, but he's really the only consistent one on that team, and that's where they struggle. That's certainly where they struggled today with the Broncos. The guys weren't firing.
Yeah, they needed defense big time. They just need it in the worst way.
Yeah, agreed. Couldn't agree more.
They just need a defense that, like, I'm going to point to Tampa because obviously I watch it more closely than a lot of the other games. Yeah, they just force turnovers. Linebackers come flying in, punching at the ball, all that sort of thing. Like, they need a defense that can generate some turnovers for them. How many drives are you going to get in a game? 8 to 10 when you're lucky, and there's been a few 3 and outs from both teams. Like, you need to take a few of those drives away from the other team and give them to you.
Yep. It's modern defense now. That is the modern defensive style. It's not about yards anymore. No one cares who gives up no one cares who gives up the least yards. No one cares. It is all about turnovers, putting the ball in your offense's hand in convenient situations, or situations that are going to help them, positive situations. It's about not making turnovers yourself on offense. If you win the turnover battle, you win most of the games. And with how talented defensive players are now, a lot of them, when they pick it off, they can make really big plays happen. Because I just said, you've got guys like Trayvon Diggs running around, who's an ex-receiver, who got to college and they was a 5-star recruit as a receiver, and they went, no, we don't have room for you here. You're going to play D-back. There are genuine talented football players now, defensive ends that run like wide receivers used to. It's a different element now. And you're right, the Chargers don't generate turnovers and they don't stop the run, which is the two key indicators of a crappy defense. Turnover. I tell you, I've watched some crappy, as a Cowboys fan, I've watched some crappy defenses, and they are the two most infuriating things about a defense, when they can't stop the run and cannot generate turnovers because you can't help your offense. That's the problem. So,
100%.
Great win for the Broncos, though. Great win for the Broncos. Well done.
Absolutely. Moving on to our segment this week. It's titled, I should say. I'm starting to talk like you. What has happened?
It's not entitled.
That's a good joke. What has happened, Jay? We will start with the Titans. Mate, what has happened?
I think this one's really easy. It's injuries. AJ Brown's now on IR. His season's over. Julio Jones he's kind of at the start of the AJ Green path now, come a couple of years ago. Remember when it was, AJ Green will come around, he'll come around. Now, it turns out this year, AJ Green has kind of come around, but it's taken about 5 years and a new team. But Julio Jones seems to be that guy now where he just can't be right. And then when he plays, he isn't productive. And then Derrick Henry, he was on track. If Derrick Henry's still playing right now, I think he's the MVP this season. With the up and down of quarterbacks in this league right now, I genuinely think this would be his best chance to win MVP this season. And he was on track to break the rushing record, to beat what he did last year and be better than last year. And he's hurt. And, defensively, they're better this year, the Titans. But, Richie, me and you both know when you're a good defense and your offense is terrible, and then they might get a pick six and a couple of scores up on you, you're just like, we're done. We can't.
Because you can't win.
Yeah. And the Patriots did that this week to the Titans. They just got a couple of scores up, and the Titans defense were like, we know we can't score. Now, the easy narrative and the easy thing to say is that Tannehill's not as good as what he is, that he's been hiding behind great talent. That's unfair because every quarterback needs those guys around him. There are not many quarterbacks that can just survive with zero talent around them. It's really difficult to do it. I think you'd struggle to find a quarterback that's just like, here's 5 crappy receivers, have fun. Be super productive and win a lot of football games. You need to have the right pieces in place to suit your quarterback and the quarterback's style. And Tannehill's now being thrown to the wolves. He has no running back. The offensive line was never great. And now that they can't run the ball because there's no Derrick Henry, they're even worse because teams just tee off on them. And then if you fall behind, teams tee off on them even more. So it's a bad recipe. Now, the good thing for them is they're 8-3, and the Colts lost again in a close one to 8-4, sorry, and the Colts lost again in a close one today. So they're no closer to catching them, and they've beaten them twice. So I think they're going to win the division, but unfortunately, this is a team that a lot of people, including myself, had, with Super Bowl aspirations, and it's really fading very quickly.
Yeah, I don't know many people who would have not had them pencil in. Certainly the division. I mean, they're only half a game behind the Ravens, who were far from convincing today. That the AFC is just absolutely wide open, but the biggest difference is the Titans have 8 wins in the bank. You compare them to someone like the Broncos or the Raiders who've had wins this week. They've got 6.
Yeah.
So, not only do you have to catch these teams, you've got to pass them too. So, they're certainly in the driver's seat. They're not going to get much challenge from the division, which certainly helps them getting through. But, yeah, I don't know. I'm with you. Certainly all about injuries. Moving on, next one, the LA Rams. What has happened?
This isn't about injuries. Like, I know they lost Robert Woods, but which sucks. It does suck for their offense, but they're relatively healthy everywhere else. Cam Akers they lost before the season, which again, that sucks that they lost Cam Akers. I would have liked to see him play, but he's not there anymore. But this is it a continuity thing? There's rumors that Stafford's not entirely healthy, which I could certainly believe after watching him the last couple of weeks. They've come off a bye. In saying that, and with all fairness to them, their last few losses, they lost to the Packers, which is, I don't think that's a shame, losing to the Packers. Like, they're a very good football team. Yeah, they're a very good football team. The 49ers at 49ers on a Monday Night Football, so division game, division rival, I can understand that. And the Titans, who 3 weeks ago, the Titans were a completely different team. They were the number one team in the AFC. Everyone thought they were going to roll. My issue with the Rams are they've beaten the Texans, the Lions, the Giants, the Seahawks. They beat the Colts early in the season when they were terrible. So they haven't really beaten anyone good. And they beat the Bears. So they haven't beaten a good team yet. Now, I know the Colts are probably the best team they've beaten. And, are we sold on the Colts? Probably not. Like, if they'd won a couple of close games, then maybe. But, they haven't. They haven't won enough. So they've beaten crap teams and they've lost to good teams. And that's where I'm kind of like, what's happened to them is maybe they're not as good as what we think they are. Maybe Von Miller isn't as impactful as what we thought he was at Denver, and that's why they were so willing to trade him. I know Odell Beckham scored a touchdown today, but he hasn't been an impact player for 4 seasons, Odell Beckham. No. He's just a dude now. He's just maybe a high-end second-string receiver. That's just what he is now. He can't be your guy. And trust me, I'd love to be proven wrong by Odell Beckham, but we've been waiting to be proven wrong for 3 years, and it hasn't happened. And you can't argue he's had bad situations.
No, they were just hoping that he would be at least as good as Robert Woods and fill that role.
And he's not.
No, he's not.
He's nowhere near.
I could have told you he's not. I could have told you he's not. That they need, again, they're in a good position. They've got the wins in the bank. They do have the 49ers breathing down their neck. And I was about to say that they got the Jags next week, so that'll make a huge difference as well.
Their run home's pretty easy. They got the Jags, then they've got the Cardinals at home. So, like, division game, they lost them the first time. I could see them winning that. I could see them the next. I could see them beating the Jags and beating the Cardinals and going, "Oh, the Rams are back." Then they've got the Seahawks, who, are really struggling at the moment. Yeah. Then they've got the Vikings, who I think by that point will most likely be eliminated and won't be playing for anything, and maybe a coach fired. Then they've got the Ravens, which is tough, and then the 49ers again. So you think they split the 2 division games if they win 2 of those 3 games and beat the Jaguars and the Vikings. They're going to have 5. They're going to win 4 of their next 6 of the last 6 games. They're going to roll into the playoffs. They're going to be
that gives them 11 wins and they win the division.
They're going to win the division easy, and they're probably, with the way the NFC is going, we could be talking next week going, "Well, what happened to the Packers?" You know what I mean? They could probably still win the NFC. Yeah. So I'm not super worried.
Certainly goes up in air like that. Next is the Chargers, but I feel we kind of talked about them. We'll jump over to your crappy Cowboys. Now I know what you're going to say. There's no one on that team left, especially on the defense. They're all injured.
The defensive line's a worry. It really is.
You think?
Like Randy Gregory was having a career year. He's back. They're both back. He's back next week. DeMarcus Lawrence is back next week. That's a huge loss. You got to understand, they're not even using Micah Parsons in the same way they wanted to. They're having to use him pretty much as an edge rusher, which what makes his season so much more remarkable is that they didn't even draft him to be an edge rusher, and he's probably the best edge. He's the most impactful edge rusher in the league. So it's not all doom and gloom in Dallas. And I had someone say that like, "Are you worried about the rest of the season?" And no, I'm not. Like the Broncos loss sucked, then they pumped the Falcons. They lost to the Chiefs. Where like, did anyone in the preseason have them winning that game in Arrowhead?
No.
Yeah, it was just because the way they lost sucked. But Arrowhead's hard to go and play. It's really, really hard to go play there. And they've got a pretty good team. And then like the Raiders, and this is where this wonderful word which I use way too much at the moment called perspective. So the Raiders win in overtime. Great win by the Raiders. It was a really, really good football game. Just a terrific football. I thoroughly enjoyed this game. Aaron Rodgers, when he played 4 or 5 weeks ago, he didn't have Devonta Adams for a game against the Cardinals. And he scored 20 points and beat the Cardinals without Devonta Adams. Oh, they praised him. Oh, God, how good was Rodgers without Devonta Adams? How did he do it? How did he do? Oh, he's a magician. Then you've got Dak Prescott puts up 33 on a solid Raiders defense without CeeDee Lamb and Amari Cooper and a Zeke Elliott who is busted up and will not play for the next couple of weeks. I guarantee it. And there's nothing. It's, Prescott can't carry them. It's the same as we said about Tannehill earlier. You can't just take away these talented players, these really talented guys that you've got used to having on your team all season and go, hey, you don't get him this week. Bad luck. You don't get, you know that really good second-year player, Lamb, that burns everyone and you have to account for on every single play? He's gone. He's not playing this week. Your star receiver, he's gone. And Zeke, he can't run that fast anymore. And Tyron Smith at left tackle, he's gone. He's not playing this week. You can't do that to teams and expect them to just respond and be awesome still. I think they played bloody well under the circumstances. I was actually happy with the way they played. And if they get all these guys back from injury next week, which is what reported to do, I wouldn't want to be the Saints. I wouldn't want to be Trevor Siemian rolling into Cowboy Stadium next week because I said it will be like Atlanta 2 weeks ago because when they're healthy, they're very good. So that's what's happened. And everyone knows how pessimistic and Cowboys fan I am. I think they're okay. I think they're going to be fine. I think they're going to win the division because you know what? The Eagles are shit too.
Oh, the rest of the division's garbage.
Yeah.
Moving on, who we got here? I'll tell you what, we're saving the Patriots and the Dolphins for last. We're going to jump to the Steelers. We'll talk doom and gloom. Pittsburgh Steelers. What happened? I'll tell you what happened. It's exactly as we predicted. They suck.
That's why I put them in. They're crap. Ben Roethlisberger. There's now talk they're going to bench Ben Roethlisberger. That's what Tomlin said today. We'll do whatever we need to do to get the offense going again. They're a little bit injured too. Like they haven't got Juju Smith-Schuster. They haven't got Chase Claypool playing. So they are missing their 2 starting receivers. Najee Harris is hitting that rookie wall, which it always happens for running backs. It's very hard. How many games do college kids play? 13?
If they play a championship game, they play 13. Most play 12.
They're at that now. They're basically at the end of their season. And the problem is that when you're at the end of your college season, it's all like, oh my God, we're going to win a national championship. Like you're firing up. Whereas right now you're in this kind of third of the season slump where it's like, we've got 6 weeks left. And then we've got to play finals.
The college football season ended this weekend. Like next weekend is championship games. Weekend after is Army Navy, which I love. And then it's bowl season. So as you said, this is where rookies do start to hit that wall. Many do perk back up for the playoffs if they're a good enough player. But this is the point where rookies in the NFL are going, fuck me. We've still got 6 games to go.
Yeah. It's a long season. The NFL's a long season.
Yeah.
And I don't think the Steelers are particularly good. They've probably were better than what I thought they were going to be this year. Their defense is good. TJ Watt's just he's not going to win Defensive Player of the Year again this year, and it sucks because he's probably going to be one of those guys that's always going to be second or third in Defensive Player of the Year and will never win one, which will suck. But he's outstanding. Minka Fitzpatrick's really good. But who did they lose to again today? Who was it? It wasn't.
They got touched up by.
They got pumped.
God, I had it.
Chargers. No. Bengals.
No,
sorry, the
Bengals.
First time they've been swept in 15 years by the Bengals. 15 years. So I easily could have put in the Bengals for what's happened, but I think we'll save them. I want to give them one more week to see how they go. But
can the Steelers get a bounce back next week? Oh no, they got to play the Ravens.
So, man, but this is the thing though. This is the NFL and the division. They probably go in and beat the Ravens. That's what I mean. Like it's just the way it works right now. The bounce back games, but I just think they're falling too far behind now.
Oh, they're 5-5. Sorry,
5
guys,
5.
you go on.
5
I'm going to save the most interesting one for last, I think. So we're going to go with the Miami Dolphins next. What happened, from my point of view, they've hit the easy part of their schedule. That's what happened.
Look, yeah, that's probably fair. They've beaten who have they beaten? Well, they beat the Texans. Yeah, that's pretty easy. They beat the Ravens. That's fair. That's a good
That was
win.
a good win. That was the good win.
They beat the Jets.
Mm-hmm.
Look, the Panthers have got so many issues, and quarterback's the biggest. It was great to see Cam Newton carrying on like a fucking pork chop last week when he ran in a touchdown, and then this week go 4 of 21 for 40 yards or whatever it was. He was dreadful, and that's the Cam Newton we know, and it is what he is. And the Panthers, we're both super disappointed on them because I wanted them to be. I thought they'd be good, and I wanted them to be good, and I'm flat out disappointed. Like, you think week 4 we were like, these guys are great, Darnold's great. Now look at it. Like, you don't even want Darnold. We're now bagging them for picking up Darnold's 5th-year option. Probably by week 3 we were saying, what a great move picking up his option.
I reckon you and I bagged that in the preseason. I might be wrong, but I'd like to go back and listen.
But like so I think that win from and it wasn't. That's the thing. The Dolphins, they pumped the Panthers today, and the difference is, and what has happened, it's their defense. It's gone back to what it was last year. And what do Richie? We were talking before. Generate turnovers, stop the run. Dolphins are doing that at the moment. The last few weeks, that's what they've been doing. It's how they beat the Ravens. They stopped the run. They generated turnovers. It's what good defenses do, and then the offense complements it. Tua's getting comfortable. And just quietly, what else has happened? A guy who is completely under the radar for rookies again, the Patrick Surtain of the offense, Jalen Waddle. He's been outstanding.
Did you see his Waddle dance today?
It was so penguin. Good. So
and then when he got lifted up, he kept doing the penguin by the line, and then he dropped him. And he kept the penguin.
It was outstanding. He's excellent. Like, him and Jamar Chase are both exactly what was advertised. And who was the other guy that went in the first round? I'm trying to think. There's 3.
Smith.
Smith's been very good also. Smith has been very good. If they could have a quarterback that could throw it and not run with it every time, he'd probably be better. But yeah, as I mean, that's what's happened. What they've kind of found a bit of an identity on offense with Waddle. They feed him. They feed Gesicki. Waddle's leads all rookies in receptions with 71. So he'll finish as a 100 reception receiver if he plays the rest of the season, which is unbelievably good for a rookie. So his average isn't high, but he turns the chains.
Here's the skinny with the Dolphins. Next week, you have the Giants, then the Jets, then the Saints. Win all 3.
Win the next 3.
That would take them to 8 wins, and then they've got a couple of tough ones to finish with the Titans, who knows? Who
knows what the Titans are going to be by then?
And then the Patriots, who we're going to talk about next. They could sneak in at the end. They could genuinely sneak in at the end. Now, definitely. I don't think they will, but you never know. You never know. Finish off last one, the Patriots. What's happened? They're exceptionally coached.
Oh, if he doesn't win Coach of the Year this year, there is something wrong with the NFL. If they continue this and they go, he goes 12 and 5. It's 12 and 5 now, isn't it? 12 and 5 or 13 and 4. He should win Coach of the Year. There's no doubt about it. Like, Mac Jones is getting better every week too. Old McCorkle.
And as much as I hate to say it, I think what McDermott has done with McCorkle this year has been just exceptional. Daniels, sorry.
Yeah, McDaniels. I agree.
I hate giving him any props whatsoever because he's kind of a douche. But what he's done this year.
Actually, I'm sure he's a nice guy. I'm sure on a personal level, he's probably a very nice person. We don't know him that way, but what he did to the fucking Chiefs.
What he did to Colts
with a douche move. And you won't be thinking, that's a douchey move. And that's if the only way you know that guy is because of that. Douche. But yeah, I'm with you there. It's a defense. Turnover. Again, high turnovers. They've only allowed since week 7, since the Cowboys touched them up. And like, now thinking back, how big was that win by the Cowboys in overtime in Foxborough? Now, now what we know, like, how big was that win? How big was the Buccaneers win in Foxborough in week 5?
That's what I was about to say.
There's been some big
losses to our team going in there.
Yeah.
So they're a good team, man.
You flip that around, they're very good. They run the ball well. They've got playmakers. That rookie Stevenson, whatever his name is, he's just a breath of fresh air. Harris is great. They're very good. The receivers they brought in, Hunter Henry's working out. Meyer's been good. Aguilar not so much, but they're a much improved offense.
For him.
And McCorkle's the leader of it. He's going to win 100%. McCorkle. It's going to fucking suck, but he's going to win it. He's getting to that point now. Quarterback.
Some of some of the things he's able to do under pressure and things like that has been really, really good. But to all the people, I heard him get called, I think Hasselbeck during the week called him like Tom Brady light or like Tom Brady like. Can we stop? Okay. Tom Brady is the greatest football player of all time forever. He is Don Bradman. If you don't realize this, you're not paying attention. You're watching the greatest player who will ever play the sport. Next, McCorkle could have a great career, but he will never, ever be anything like Tom Brady.
It's unfair to do that to him. Why can't you just say he's having a really good, like he's having an incredible rookie season? Why do we have to? And this is the one thing with American sports that it drives me wild. I don't know if it's an American culture. I don't get it. Everything's based off how many Super Bowls have you won and who are you like? Oh, he's like this guy. He's like this guy. He's like this guy. Why can't McCorkle just be McCorkle? Why do we have to say he's like... Because I can tell you, he's freaking nothing like Brady. And 22 years ago when Brady had his first season, the game wasn't even the same. I don't reckon Brady even threw for 3,000 yards in his first year. Like McCorkle's probably already done it. That's what I mean. Like this, it's not the same game. It's unfair to just compare them to him. And it's very unfair to compare anyone to Tom Brady. Anyone to him. So just...
I'm telling you, he is Don Bradman. His stats when he finishes will be that far ahead, especially in some of the most important categories. No one's ever going to get near him. Quarterbacks will pass him in stats because the sport will continue to change.
Yeah.
But he's put up so many yards now, it's going to take a effing long time for someone to play long enough to catch him. Like we always thought, Mahomes would be next, Will he? I don't know. He could just plateau and buzz out too.
You don't know what's going to happen. Look at Andrew. Everyone thought Andrew Luck would be the next great thing. He retired after 8 years.
Yeah,
you know? Like, you don't know what's going to happen. And what
we
we do know is
Jack Doyle's still going around.
That's the thing. Brady, I don't even think he's done. I genuinely think he re-signs with the Bucs this year and goes again.
Guarantee you.
There is no doubt in my mind he plays next year.
He signs a 2-year deal at the end of the year. Definitely plays one of them.
Just does the same thing again.
Crazy.
Yeah, it is insane.
Moving on, it is Forkum time. We are forking.
Let's go. Who? So you have forked the Texans, the Giants, and the Jags. I've been a bit more bold about my forking because I'm not afraid like you, and I've forked the Lions.
Yeah, way to fork them.
Real bold. Washington. Hey, they're second in the division, and this Seattle Seahawks. It's really not that bold, is it? But we're gonna do one each. Richie, you can go first.
You tend to give me the easier ones. I can't believe we haven't forked the Bears, so I'm going to fork the Bears.
The Bears, yeah, I'm happy to do that. Who am I going to fork? So you've got the Bears.
Quietly, their coach will be the first coach fired too. Nagy, bye-bye.
What about all the rumors last week? I actually felt sorry for him. So he went to watch his kids' football game. Have you heard this story? He went to watch his kids' football game, and the kids in the crowd started a fire Nagy chant. Yeah. Fucking brutal. That is brutal. Brutal shit.
At a high school.
At a high school game where his son's apparently an absolute superstar too, watching his son play. And they started. That's just like, I know it's kids being kids, but fuck me, man. Like, imagine sitting, like, you just leave. Surely you'd be like, I'm just going to leave.
Nah, you just stay and wave. You just stay and wave to the kids.
Yeah, it's pretty terrible. I'm going to fork. The Giants or the Panthers. Do you know what? I'm going to go a bit personal here. Fuck the Panthers. They really let me down. I flew the fucking flag to them. They had the best run at the start of the season. They had all the crap teams who everyone's like, oh, are they crap? Yes, they're still crap. They are still, those first 8 games, they played all the crap teams in the league and they couldn't win them all. They fucked themselves. They pissed me off. I wanted them to be good. Then they bring back Cam Newton, who everybody knows I cannot stand Cam Newton. Everything he does irritates me. He annoys the crap out of me. And most of all, I think he's one of the most overrated quarterbacks in the history of the NFL. He was good, don't get me wrong, but he was never deserved the hype that he got. Overrated. Shits me that he's back. It shits me that Darnold didn't work out. It shits me that I thought they'd be good. Panthers, you're gone. They really irritated me.
Hey, before we do the preview for the Monday night game,
talk to me.
Did you see Josh Norman double punch Phelan in the ass today?
Yeah, well, that was a bit odd. I think it was, I reckon you know what it was, because he didn't do it hard. I reckon his foot or his leg was kind of stuck under Phelan. Maybe it was like bent up under Phelan. because the ref also didn't like flag him. Or if you watch the ref, he goes and grabs Thielen's legs and like moves them for him. So I reckon he's going like, Adam, you're on my legs, dude. Like my foot's caught. Like, because if you watch Thielen, he kind of rolls off really quick as well. I think that's what it was.
It's a double
glute.
fist punch to the glute. It's the funniest thing I saw all weekend. It was so
very
good.
funny. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think there was any, because he didn't punch him hard, so I don't think there was any maliciousness in it. Is maliciousness a word?
Yeah, you're right.
I don't think there's anything malicious to it.
I just had to ask if you'd seen it.
Rolls off really quick. It was very funny. I had a little chuckle. They stopped Red Zone to bring it up. It was really good.
Yeah, it's so good. Monday night preview. The Seahawks are traveling out to the football team. It's a rough road trip for the Seahawks. This is a garbage matchup now. To be honest,
we've got to give him one.
I think I might just work tomorrow. I don't even know if I'll turn it on.
I'm not about that life. I'm actually very busy tomorrow, so I don't think I will watch this tomorrow. What do we want to say? It's not a great matchup. Now, preseason, like we both thought Washington might be okay, and we all thought the Seahawks would be okay. So it's hard. Like everyone goes, "Oh, why would they make this a Monday night football game?" Well, the Seahawks have made
playoff teams last year.
Yeah, they both made the playoffs last year. And Seahawks have made the playoffs like 9 of the last 10 years or something like that. Like they're a perennial playoff team. So they have got into the flexes now. After next week, they're flexes they start flexing them. They've made some good primetime games coming up in the next few weeks. But yeah, I'm with you. I don't even care who wins. Like I don't think whoever wins changes the season. Like I've got them both forked. I don't think whoever wins even changes anything.
If Washington win, they will be tied with the Eagles for second in the division. The hardest thing is, I don't think.
Can they get a wild card?
Well, yeah, because right now the first wild card in the NFC is the Rams with 7 wins. So if they win, it'll take them to 5. And then the next wild card is the 49ers with 6 wins. So if they get a win, they're 1 game behind a wild card position. But the problem is, if they do get that win, get to 5 wins, they're going to be tied with the Eagles, the Vikings, the Falcons, the Saints, the Panthers. So you're just in the muck with everybody else.
The Vikings are getting the 7 seed, aren't they? The Vikings are making the playoffs.
Yeah, I wish I'd left them in.
And you know the other thing is, I think the 49ers are too.
Yeah, well, that's what I put in for them.
They're in the 6th seed right now. They're the 6th seed right now. And they're a game up on the Saints. Like, they got the Saints, Vikings, and Falcons chasing them.
Yeah.
Surely you can win enough games to outrun them. To outrun one. You're only going to outrun one of them because 2 of them are getting in.
Well, that's the thing. So right now, the wild card in the NFC is a logjam of 5-5, 5-6 teams. So
you're right, though. Washington
somebody has to come out of there.
Washington win. This is a big. This is almost a cornered rat game, cornered animal game. If Washington don't win this, their season's pretty much over. If they win it, they are literally in the wild card race again. So we'll see how they come out.
And if you look at the Seahawks record as well, I mean, being only 3 wins, it's probably gone, but it's 100% a loser leaves town game because
you're right.
Whoever loses, they are gone. I think that the Seahawks are probably gone anyway, but yeah, if the football team want to make a run for the playoffs again like they did last year, it's got to start here.
Yep, absolutely. Hey, look, I hope Washington wins, so there's something interesting going on. Because are you excited about one thing? I can't think of anything worse than the Saints, Vikings, or Falcons being in the playoffs. I would prefer the Eagles to get in. Me
too. Right now, the wild cards, especially the 6 and 7 seeds, are just so wide open on both sides of the thing. We are going to have so many live games. I honestly
Except in the AFC, don't you think they're good? This is the thing about the AFC. Like the teams in there, I wouldn't mind watching play in the playoffs. The Broncos, the Raiders, the Chargers. Like, the Broncos have beaten 3 of the best teams in the league. Like I wouldn't mind them. They go into a playoff game thinking if they play well here, who knows? In the NFC, none of them really give me. The Vikings are probably the only team that make me think that. It's because they play everything so close that they might luck out and win.
Well, the NFC's biggest problem is they're a game behind the AFC, if you look at it that way. So right now, that middle of the road, they're all 6 and 6. So it's the Browns it's the Chargers, it's the Broncos, it's the Raiders. They've got games in hand, but they're all on 6 wins, whereas in the NFC they're all on 5. So it'll be interesting to see how it fleshes out. But I really do believe that come the last weekend, I think there'll be quite a few live games with playoff spots up for grabs.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. There's going to be some live games rolling into the playoffs, which is good. That's what we want. We want live football to week 18. So when are buys over? Buys are over the next few weeks as well, aren't they?
A couple of weeks, I think. Yeah, they're all done next week.
I like when buys end too. I like it when the buys end, and instead of having only the 3 late games, and like instead of adding a couple to the late games, they just add 2 more games to the morning. So there's like 14 morning games, and you can't keep up with anything in the mornings.
I just hate it when
next week.
I hate it when they've got like 7. When they got like 7 teams on a bye or 6 teams on a bye, and then the next week there's 2. I can't stand that shit. Just even it out. Even it out. Yeah. Anyway, that's my little rant on the NFL schedule.
Buys are next week. Only 1 more week of buys and they're done.
Excellent. So
that'll be good. Oh, that's it, Rich. That's the end of the show, mate. Well, no, that was
love it. Good work,
we're getting very streamlined with our infusion of information. Is that the right word? Probably not. Well done. We'll quickly go around town again and thank all the supporters of the show, starting with J and D's Breaks. This beautiful Marshall Falk signed St. Louis Rams mini helmet is the Patreon. Goes in a couple of days, so sign up. $10 a month. I'll also reveal next month's helmet, which is, believe it or not, I think it's actually better than this one. Seriously, J and D, they have bought like fire with the 3 helmets they're giving me. They are absolutely outstanding. So thank you very much to them. US Sports Gear Australia. I don't know why I went to say that. ussportsgear.com.au. Get in there for your football equipment needs in Australia. Also some replica college helmets and stuff like that in there. So get in there and have a look at them. Great gear, best prices, all that sort of stuff. Burnley Brewing. Make sure you look after them. If you're in Melbourne, get in there, have a meal. Have a meal before the new strain of COVID comes in and puts us in lockdown again. It's only a matter of time, I'm sure. And also Dark Horse Electrics. Check out Dylan from Dark Horse Electrics. Any electrical work done in Victoria, Melbourne particular, give him a call and make sure you get into all these guys. Give them a follow on their social medias. Join J&D's break groups. Maybe throw yourself into a little $10 break and try and win yourself a helmet. Have a bit of fun with it. Only put in what you can afford. It is a gamble, so make sure you gamble responsibly. That's it, Richie. Thank you very much, mate, for being here. And
pleasure.
Just quickly, just before we get out, a little bit of garbage time. How fucking cool was Michigan marching onto the field after beating Ohio State and singing Mr. Brightside?
It's the first time they have beaten Ohio State, I'll be honest, in a fucking long time. Like a really long time. Like it is not a rivalry anymore. I know they call it one. It has not been for a long time. So I'm just glad they beat them. 1, because I'm sick of Ohio State in the college playoffs. Don't want to see them. Go away. And I also hope Georgia kicked the living shit out of Alabama this week, so I don't have to see them in the college playoff this week. But yes, it was good to finally see Michigan get a W over Ohio State because it has been a long, long time.
Yeah, it is. It was cool. As I said, the college boys are Aaron and Will recording tonight. I was that excited I wanted to jump on with them, but they're actually recording right now as we're recording, so I couldn't. But it was.
Did you see
I can't wait to hear them talk about it.
Did you see the Michigan Penn State game and the absolute dumping snow?
No,
it was some of the thickest snow I've seen in a long time at a football game.
The thickest snow I ever remember was the Buffalo Bills, and LaShawn McCoy was playing for the Buffalo Bills, and he broke off the touchdown in overtime to win it. It was like a minute left in overtime, and he was sliding around everywhere, and no one could tackle him. It's incredible. When you see games like that, like, can you imagine like AFL players playing in snow? Like they just wouldn't do it. They'd be like, "Oh, we got to put the roof back on." And not all stadiums in America do that, but the fact that there's snow like that, and they're like, "Oh, well, you're playing." Game on. Thermals on, guys. Have fun. Receivers, we're really sorry. You're not going to get much today. Have fun running the ball.
Well, that game was actually, it was so cold. The snow wasn't like wet at all. It was dry, really dry snow because it was absolutely so cold. But if you get a chance, Penn State and Michigan State on the weekend. Just quickly look for the highlights. You'll see how much snow there was come the end of that game.
You beauty. Also, check out the College Boys, Will and Aaron, and Fantasy Football Podcast this week, all the podcasts from the Vault Studio. Richie, thank you very much. See you next week.